royal family is in crisis, as the King's top aide, Sir Clive Alderton, quits after a very vicious battle behind the scenes about whether Prince Harry and Meghan Markle should have a place. He has been forced out because there is a significant fundamental disagreement between him and the King.
King Charles is risking the future of his entire reign and legacy by seemingly paving the way for Prince Harry to come back in.
The wasp is leaving the nest. He is flying away. And I refer to him as the wasp because that's what Has referred to him as in his memoir.
The King's silky smooth gatekeeper for 20 years, the man who spent 2 decades protecting the monarchy from Harry and Meghan, has just been forced out because King Charles wants them back. Buckingham Palace, Balmoral, the whole thing. And the people who actually report the truth are already being smeared. Here's what really happened.
And many are speculating that this will be an opportunity to bring back Prince Harry, which is insane. It is insanity. It is sheer stupidity by Charles.
Because King Charles is weak when it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Removing Alderton before 2027 just sort of clears the runway for Has and Megs. It eliminates the one senior aide who very cleverly blocked their return.
His name is Clive Alderton, and for 2 decades he sat at the center of royal power as the King's principal private secretary. But his real role went deeper than any job title. For years, he was the last serious obstacle standing between Harry and Meghan and a full return to royal life. He was the one holding the line, and now that line is gone.
This Clive Alderton piece, I think, is really, really key here, and that he's resigning and that Charles is going to get somebody else there who he thinks is going to be more malleable to his perspective with Harry.
Harry himself gave him a name in his memoir, Spare. He called him the Wasp, a quiet dig at the man he saw as an enemy inside the palace walls, while the Wasp has just been removed. And you have to ask yourself, removed by who and for what reason? But the official reason he's giving doesn't add up. The palace wants this to look simple. Clive Alderton is stepping down ahead of his 60th birthday. That's the official line. Just a man reaching a certain age and choosing to retire. Routine, nothing to question. But think about that for a second. He's 59 years old. Nobody quietly walks away from one of the most powerful jobs in the country at 59 if everything is going well. People don't step back from real power because a birthday is coming up. They step back because something forced their hand.
Charles doesn't really listen to anyone, except with the massive exception of the public when they boo him. He doesn't look at polls. He doesn't look at how unpopular Harry, Meghan, and even he are. He does not care.
And here's what the palace actually said in its statement. The king and queen are, quote, deeply grateful for his tireless support and wise counsel over the years. Smooth words, polished words, the kind of statement built to close a story down, not open one up. But set that statement next to what insiders are reportedly saying happened behind closed doors, and the picture changes completely. This wasn't about age. This was about a fundamental disagreement over the future of Harry and Meghan inside the royal family. Because right now, there are 2 camps forming inside the palace walls. One side believes the Harry and Meghan return to UK should never happen, while the other is pushing for a full reunion, a complete reunion with all the access and all the trust that comes with it. And Clive Alderton was reportedly standing firmly with the first camp, the side that lost.
Don't remove the monarchy's firewall, which is Clive Alderton. He is the human firewall in the same year that Harry has 2 his best PR global platforms, unless you want that option of movement in a different direction that Clive Alderton wouldn't allow.
So ask yourself this. If it really was just about turning 60, why would that cost him his job 2 decades into a career built on loyalty and discretion? The timing tells its own story, and it's not the one the palace wants you to hear, because this isn't the first time a disagreement like this has cost someone their job at the palace. And it isn't the first time Charles has quietly opened a door that should have stayed closed. Remember Andrew? Despite serious scandal, despite the damage to the family name, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was brought back into the fold. Sarah Ferguson came with him. At the time, plenty of people inside royal circles thought that decision would never happen. It happened anyway. Now look at what's unfolding with Harry and Meghan. The same king who found a way to bring Andrew back is reportedly clearing a similar path for the 2 people who have spent years publicly attacking the family from the outside. Different names, same instinct. And once you see it laid out like that, the pattern is hard to ignore.
If Harry comes back basically as a working royal, what Charles has done basically is said that being a royal is a fallback plan. Actually degrades the status of the monarchy by demonstrating that it's a backup plan. And so when you don't work in Hollywood, you can come and be a royal. It's similar, right? You're a public person, you get to do public events and these sorts of things, and you get to be like, this is what happens when you fail out.
Charles struggles to hold the line when it comes to his own family, even when holding that line is what protects the institution he's supposed to be guarding. Forgiveness keeps winning out over caution, no matter what it costs the palace. Here's a detail that shows exactly how close this has already come once before. Harry reportedly came within a hair of actually staying inside Buckingham Palace itself on a past visit. Not a hotel nearby, not a private residence. The palace. The only reason it didn't happen was a technicality, a late acceptance that gave the palace an out at the last second. That's it. That's the only thing that stopped it. And now, both sides are reportedly saying that technicality won't be there to save anyone next time. The door that almost opened once is being lined up to open for real. But if the last gatekeeper is gone, so is the person who caught that mistake. And this next move isn't about the palace at all. It's about money. Observers have started questioning how much of Harry and Meghan's commercial ventures are actually built to last, versus short bursts of attention that fade once the headlines move on. Reports suggest some deals have quietly stalled. Others are still unproven, launched with big promises and no clear sign yet that they can survive without constant press coverage to prop them up. Frame it plainly, and a royal return starts to look like more than an emotional decision. It starts to look like a financial lifeline, a way back to relevance and security that money alone hasn't been able to buy. At the same time, a pattern of public appearances has caught the attention of royal commentators. A carefully timed interview, a holiday photo with just enough royal scenery in the frame to spark conversation, a social media post that reads less like a personal update and more like a message aimed at a very specific audience back in Britain. Individually, each one looks harmless. Lined up together, some are calling it a distraction tour, a slow campaign to shift public mood before any reunion becomes official. And the timing of all of it, the reported money pressure and the reported reunion push, is close enough to raise real questions. Is this about family or is this about survival? Because right now, nobody outside their inner circle actually knows. And that's exactly why the palace can't afford to let this play out in public. And that timing leads straight to the one detail nobody wanted confirmed. Here it is. Reports say Charles has already extended an invitation. Not a maybe, not a someday we'll see how things go, an actual invite for Harry, Meghan, and their 2 children to spend time at Balmoral this summer while the king himself is there.
Has been forgiven from King Charles's side, and that's why we've seen the pictures from Althorpe, but what's coming is the king has forgiven, and he's going to extend an invite later this summer for Harry with his wife and their 2 children to spend a couple of days in Balmoral when the king's up there.
Now you need to understand what Balmoral actually is, because this isn't a ribbon cutting or a public event with cameras and a guest list. Balmoral is private. It's family space. It's one of the most protected, most personal places anywhere in the entire royal calendar. The kind of place reserved for the people closest to the king, not for figures the palace has spent years trying to keep at a careful distance, which is exactly why this detail matters so much. This isn't a polite gesture or a small olive branch tossed out for appearances. This is the clearest signal yet of where Charles's loyalty actually sits, once you strip away every official statement and every carefully worded press release. And here's the part that makes it sting even more. Public opinion toward Harry and Meghan is still, by most measures, hostile. The trust isn't there. The goodwill isn't there. Most of the country hasn't forgiven what's been said and done over the last several years. And in spite of all of that, the king is reportedly extending the single most personal invitation a family has to offer. Not a phone call, not a carefully staged reunion photo, a place inside his private world, at the exact moment the public mood says he shouldn't. So while everyone else was watching the headlines about a routine retirement, the real story was happening somewhere much quieter, somewhere much more personal, somewhere with the king's name directly attached to it. But an invitation like that doesn't stay contained. It changes what comes next, and the first place it's already causing damage is inside the family itself. William is reportedly refusing to be under the same roof as Harry and Meghan. Not a rumor whispered once and forgotten, but a position he's apparently holding firm on, and that puts Charles in a position no father wants to be in, choosing between his son, who will one day wear the crown, and the son he spent years trying to bring back into the fold. Because that's really what this comes down to. Charles may be risking his future relationship with his own heir in order to repair his relationship with the spare. Every step closer to Harry and Meghan is a step that pushes William further away. And a king only gets so many chances to get that balance right before the damage becomes permanent. Then there's the part that's harder to ignore once you actually sit with it. Buckingham Palace and Balmoral are not ordinary buildings. They are the two most symbolically important spaces the monarchy has, and those are the two spaces reportedly being opened up to the two most controversial figures connected to the crown in the last decade. Think about what that looks like from the outside, to the public, to the rest of the family, to the people who have spent years defending the institution, while Harry and Meghan spent years attacking it. And here's the thing about a message like that. It doesn't need an official statement to spread. It's already moving through royal circles faster than any palace press release could ever control. And by the time anyone tries to manage it, it will already be too late. Because once that message spreads, the only question left is what it means for the man wearing the crown. So where does this actually stand right now? Publicly, the palace says there will be a competitive hiring process to find Alderton's replacement. Open, fair, internal and external candidates welcome. But insiders reportedly already know how this ends. The outcome isn't really in question. It's just a matter of making it look like one. And when you zoom out, this was never really about one man losing his job. It's about what this reveals about the king himself. A man weighing legacy against caution, forgiveness against protection, the pole to be remembered as a father who brought his family back together against the responsibility of protecting an institution built on trust. The last gatekeeper is gone, the path is clear, and the only question left is how far is King Charles willing to go? So here's the real question for you. Are you going to let the propaganda win, or are you ready for the truth? Because there's more to this story. The parts of the Harry and Meghan return the palace is still working hard to keep quiet. If you want that story, hit subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to see it. Will you stand with us? I'm Jane Expose, and I'm here for the next story.